Ladies and gentlemen, today is not your normal World of Warcraft video. They are packing me up. They got snipers on me all over the place. The editor set me up. He's putting me in a War Within video right now. I repeat, he's got the ankle pick. Call help. Send the guards of Stormwind. Ladies and gentlemen, we are okay. Don't worry. False alarm. It was just a box of Poland Springs. Much love to you. Hope everyone's staying hydrated. I should stone cold these bitches one day. Much love to you. Settle down, lock it in. Don't get packed up or shot in Minecraft. YouTube family friendly. Keep it PG, alright? But remember, I'm the true G. Settle down. I just rhymed right there. Big pimp status. Lock it in. However, though, yeah, so we got a big video for you guys today, and this is something that I wanted to go over because, honestly, I've been looking forward to making War Within content for the past couple days. I was thinking about it in my head, how am I going to do this video, but I officially have a good idea on where I want to go with the future of other videos as well, and talk about other things. But this is basically the classic player review of the War Within. I feel like this is something that a lot of players get intimidated when it comes to trying retail out, and I wanted to be that player from the classic community, the SOD community, to try this out, transfer over, and to see what's going on in the War Within, what's the hype all about, what's so special, and inform the community over there whether it's good or bad and whether they should give it a shot, is right? Because at the end of the day, I love my SOD community. I love the people I've played Classic with, and I love the people that continue to watch the channel for Season Discovery content, which is not going anywhere. We're still making SOD content. There is updates, I know, on Wowhead. We'll be talking about those in another video. However, in this video, this is the War Within, and we got a lot of things to discuss. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope you guys have many comments below to talk about. So I'll see you guys there. For the War Within, what have I been enjoying about the War Within so much? Why did I want to try the War Within? I really wanted to see how far Blizzard pushed the envelope as far as in terms of where Classic was. As a player myself, I played Classic all the way up into Wrath, and that was for me what Classic was. Those three, the initial release and the two other expansions was what made Classic for me so enjoyable. The story at the time and the involvement of all the classes, the raiding, the PvE and both PvP, and the world felt very good. It felt very healthy. And that was what original vanilla and all the way up into Wrath for me was like. I really enjoyed the times of hanging out with my friends and playing, and I really think it offered a lot of good things for a lot of good people and a lot of great memories along the way. I will say too that I was very intimidated from trying the War Within, being a classic Andy, and only playing, hardcore WoW. People play private servers. I have only played, Season of Discovery as well, and original vanilla, playing it back then, giving it a shot, and not really knowing what I was doing, and then finally figuring things out and picking myself all the way back up to, 2019 Classic when that came around. And they're just saying I'm a classic guy all the way through and through, right? But I'll say this, to not rant about that, I was looking forward to a new adventure. I was really enjoying the fact that this might lead into something exciting, something that I'm not used to, challenging the unknown, so to say, and exploring the unknown, right? And honestly, I must say, going into the War Within, I really wanted to keep an open mind that I just want to have fun with my class, see what the game has to offer me in every aspect and every area within this, beautiful world that they've created within the War Within, and see what's going on, right? Because that's one thing I can't notch about retail is how pretty the game is. Like, visually, it is impressive. I'll give them that. And I, went through, I made, 2 characters, and then it became 4 characters. But I have 2 characters at 80 right now. It's my Fury Warrior and my Brett Paladin. And I will say, so far, I am really happy with my time spent in the War Within. Like, I'm actually shocked, genuinely. And I was almost like concerned because I didn't know what to expect from this, expansion. I kept my expectations low, but I was ready to go. Like, I was off the rip. I was excited. Get me in there. Let's see what this is about. The game needs to feel good at a class level right off the rip. That's something that was really, really focused on. Is that the game didn't feel good the minute I picked my character and started leveling it up. I knew that the game wasn't going to be good, but the game felt good, right? My class felt great. I enjoyed, picking up a whole bunch of mobs and, nuking them down and doing the, the quests that the game had to offer. But as we go into those quests and going through those new zones, I was interested on how fully developed a lot of these areas were, like the Isle of Dorn, from going to the Ringing Deeps all the way to Hollowfall, which is my favorite area, by the way, besides Isle of Dorn. and Ashkahet. And honestly, I must say, these zones are actually stunning. Like, legitimately, very, very well done, beautiful zones. I mean, the importance and the focus on detail in every aspect through every freaking area that I went through the tiniest of caves, through the, the shoreline, from the Isle of Dorn to the high mountains, to just the on the plains, in the plains right in the battlefields. And then the amount of quests in all these different areas, and that's just the Isle of Dorn. I'm not even talking about Ring of Deeps and Hollowfall and Ashkahet. Those areas have a lot of vivid and very beautiful things to themselves as well. And the way that the world is like all stacked together, and it's very easy to traverse to. It is very enjoyable, and especially if you're just trying to be a gatherer and you're just trying to do professions, or if you're just trying to do some simple quests and maybe go for lore master, or maybe you're just chilling, from town to town, and you're just hanging out, maybe fishing and getting to listen to the music. The score in this game is absolutely stunning. I'm actually shocked, like legitimately, as a player who's only ever touched Shadowlands and only tried it for a little bit, and I didn't like Torghast, I didn't like the Jailer events, I didn't like anything that was really going on. I think the story of Shadowlands was like, kind of interesting. I didn't hate that on that, but I do think as far as me enjoying the game, it felt a little bit cold. I didn't like it from that aspect, but I will say War Within is a complete 180. Very different. And everything feels very vivid and bright, but also dark, what I like, in certain areas, there are some quests that go on. I remember I did a quest with a lady who was like just going in a cave, and she was like seeking knowledge on a gem, and an elemental came out and packed her ass up and said she's gonna be stuck here for eons until she finds it in her heart of what she's truly searching for. And I was like, damn, packed her ass up and sent her to a Denny's. Much love to her. But yeah, that's just some, cool questing that I did. And honestly, I really like the open world, PvP as well, which is very interesting. Even though I'm not very good at it, still learning, because retail PvP is a much different animal than it is from Classic. But I think if I put in more time, I'll probably grow to love it. And I did some queues as well in BGs. Pretty interesting, little hectic, but we'll go into a little bit about that later on, because I do want to discuss that. I also felt like the world felt alive, Like, legitimately, one of the things that I was nervous about is the zones not feeling good. Like, the zone's not feeling like there was nothing to do. It was just empty space, or there was nothing to really, like, look down, stop, and say, I'm curious about that. Like, what's in that satchel? Or what's in that treasure chest? Or why am I getting pings for this? Or should I go over here? Like, what are these areas? There's so much to do. And every little spot has something going on. Whether you have war mode on or war mode off, it doesn't matter. There is always something going on. And I felt like the zones are engaging, which I think I like a lot. Because as I kept playing the game, I was like, wow, I find myself stopping more times than usual. Now, that's not always a good thing, because obviously you want to get from point A to point B, but obviously don't stop if you don't want to stop. You can keep flying through another zone, and that's totally fine to get to your objective. But there's just so much to do. And the Delves, and honestly, they have the follower dungeons, which I have some buddies of mine that enjoy the follower dungeons. It's like a dungeon where you can go with like NPCs if you don't want to do it brute content. But I will say the Delves are kind of like a similar system of Torghast, but just improved within these new things that they call Delves in the War Within, which is very interesting. Now, there is some good Delves, and there is some like mediocre Delves that weren't my favorite ones to do, like the underwater ones. I do think the underwater Delves were kind of a little bit mediocre. But overall, the Delves is a very interesting idea, and then you have this Bronze Beater, which you level him up, and he gets XP, and he's like your companion. He could either do damage or healing, completely up to you on how you build him out, and you can further get him more levels with more XP as you go through the Delve itself. So they're pretty fun, little mechanics. You get some gear from them, some gold. So I do enjoy that. And the dungeons, something that I was very, very concerned about, is that the dungeons were going to be good or not. Because for me as a classic player, the classic dungeons are just like the best. In my opinion, there's nothing better, especially either as an alliance or horde player, when you're leveling up in your zones and you have the opportunity to go to your first few dungeons. That is like one of the most iconic experiences for me in World of Warcraft. And I felt like I wasn't going to get that same feeling when playing in the War Within, but boy, was I wrong. I think a lot of these dungeons are stunning. They're very beautiful, well designed. I think some of the mechanics sometimes can get a little wonky within them, and I can see some of this stuff getting a little crazier on Mythic dungeons. But I will say, in Heroic, already, I was feeling very good in my rotation. Tanking looks fun. Healing looked fun. A lot of people that I play with said that all aspects of the game right now, just from a gameplay perspective, for some of their classes at least, I know some classes are not as well thorough'd out with their hero talents from what I heard, but at least for the most part, people are enjoying their rotations, whether it's on the healing end, tanking end, or the DPS end. And I think that's something that's really cool right now. And I'm looking forward to the future of any buffs or nerfs that happen with the patch notes from these retail devs, right? Now, overall, though, I will say I am actually invested in the fact that, Metzen is behind this project, and we've yet to see his notes. We've yet to see his touches really through the game, and I cannot wait till we get to the points where we notice like some really good work from the guy. I mean, this is a person who left Legion, and we haven't seen him since. And now to have him back on the team, I think I have a lot of faith in Metzen. I really hope that he, does the story right, and we get some good grittiness to the story, because I think that's what, retail needs, is some grit, to something that feels like, man, this is a badass villain. This is a badass hero, and this is something that was needed in World of Warcraft for such a long time. And I feel like Metzen's going to do us good, which I hope, everything works out in the next, couple weeks to months, and we get to see the story progress. I'm really excited for the future of it, and we'll comment more, maybe if we do like a lore video or something like that in the future, get a little bit more invested as I read more of the lore myself, and, get more involved within the War Within. So I have a lot of big hope, and, I'm very happy about Metzen being involved on the team. So I think that's a good thing about the War Within that I'm very looking forward to and very excited about. And also, like, another thing that I was really, overall, I'm going to say enjoying so far is the fact that I'm playing with friends, within retail. Because as a person, I think if you're going in this by yourself and you don't make no communications or just, have any friends, or at least trying to join a guild or get involved with parties, you're going to have a hard time, doing anything within the expansion if you just do it only by yourself and you make no connections. I know there's some players like that, and more power to you. I'm not the type of person like that. I like to form bonds and become friends with people, and, have a good time and have a nice crowd of people that I enjoy the game with. So that's my style of gaming, especially when it comes to an MMO. That's something that I've always liked doing. So I am looking forward to, honestly, the future of creating more bonds, meeting new people, and meeting people all around, whether it's, people that either watch the channel, don't watch the channel, or even content creators. So, like, I'm really honestly looking forward to what, the War Within provides down the line for a person like myself that keeps making videos like this, and, for the future for you guys, right? I will say, though, am I enjoying everything so far? Something that I noted down, because I was really asking myself after completing all this stuff in the War Within, and, getting to 80, doing my professions, doing, the heroics, and waiting, for the dailies, the weeklies, etc. Am I enjoying everything so far? I have to admit, I think I am. I genuinely think I am. I think it's very easy to get into. It's not really as hard as players make it out to be, because you know how, original classic SOD players are, and even just vanilla players who played back then. They look at retail and they think it's the worst thing to mankind ever. They think that it is an abomination and it shouldn't be touched and nobody should give it a try. And I think that's pretty wrong. I think that's unfair, to be honest with you. I think retail is its own entity, it's its own animal, and honestly, when you're involved with it and you understand it, you get to see how good the version of the War Within really is. And I'm pretty shocked that I'm even saying that for a person who really wasn't all for retail ever. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who's enjoyed Season of Discovery, and I still love Season of Discovery. But man, I think the hate on retail right now for the War Within, and if there is any, right, I will say that it doesn't deserve the hate. I think the game is definitely fun. It's an MMO that you can pick up and enjoy and just have a good time with. And I'm not gonna knock it. I'm not gonna knock it this time around. And there's times where I'll knock stuff on Blizzard for sure, but this is not one of those times. I think honestly, I could see the work, the artistic vision, and honestly, the classes themselves are just fun. For the most part. There obviously is some classes that can have some help on the heroic talent tree end, but overall, I think it's just a good time. I really do see War Within succeeding so far with a very good, initial release. But we'll talk about that release in a bit when I get to the con section, because there is some things that I did have some problems with overall. But I will say, the content's just very straightforward, and you take it one step at a time. As a player like myself who, played SOD, and I've downloaded even add-ons over there to, like, I remember getting to traversing myself through the world, and figuring out what was like the meta of like doing things more efficiently, etc. I feel like over here in retail, that's not really the case. Yeah, you could download add-ons, of course, that help you out. Of course, add-ons are a big key, to really play the game a little bit more better. But I feel like everything was just very straightforward. Do this quest, follow this campaign quest, Keep doing the campaign quests. Every zone has side quests. Just do the side quests at your own expense. Take it one step at a time. There's dailies. Do the dailies at your own expense. Take it one step at a time. The weeklies, the same thing. You get what I'm saying? So everything is really just like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not as convoluted or too much over the top with everything 1,000 dots on your screen, etc. It's very simple if you just knock it out one branch at a time. So I don't think retail whatsoever is very complex as people make it sound to be. I do think the talent system can be a little bit intimidating if you're never used to that talent system. But once you understand it and you start to play around with it and come up with different builds, you start theory crafting, you get to see the beauty within it. And it actually took me a step back to start really understanding how retail worked, and now I kind of get it. I have a grasp of it. I'm also looking forward to the future of further heroics and mythic raiding and arenas, etc. That's something that I'm really looking, as a person that, played PvP a lot within Season of Discovery and in Classic in general. I am really excited about those aspects with, even raiding that I did inside, raiding in retail, PvPing in retail. So I'm really looking much forward to that. And just, learning more about classes as I go, maybe even leveling up new classes. We'll see what happens. So those are all the notes that I have so far when it comes to the War Within. However, these are some final notes that I have. And these are the cons. How I feel about the game. I will say that I think one of the problems that I did not like about the War Within is that giving the game early access was not something I was a fan of. To pay to be ahead of other players. People have taken advantage of the leveling process, and there were some early exploits that were found often with the Patreon orders that I've read upon about, and they took advantage of that relatively quickly, getting a lot of specialization points really fast, endlessly almost, and also leveling up alts ridiculously fast, where it felt like almost MOT leveling remix for the first couple days. It was insane. Also, the fact that Blizzard then followed up with nerfing the player base, which you'll see the screenshot here on the screen, if they didn't purchase the game early, making it harder to level up, and now it's like kind of like a certain times of amount harder to actually get from point A to point B all the way to point C. You know what I mean? It's making it a little bit more of a punishment for people who didn't purchase the $90 version, which I am not a fan of that at all. I get it; it's a marketing practice, it's a strategy on Blizzard. They don't care about it at the end of the day. When it comes to people buying either, the regular or heroic, they just care about getting your money one way or another. But at the end of the day, I still don't think it is right for them to do that to their player base. They still invested money into your game. In my opinion, next expansion, whenever it does come out, I would like to see everybody start on an even playing field, same date, same time. Because if you look at the numbers, even on Twitch, it hurt their numbers really damn bad. If you look at Dragonflight's Twitch numbers, Dragonflight had like 800,000 people concurrently watching on release, and then on I believe for the War Within it was like 200 and something thousand when upon release date, so the official release. So it was not good whatsoever, and I was not a fan of that move by Blizzard. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot when it comes to the marketing decision when it came to that choice. So maybe in the future they should take heed of warning to the community and actually listen to the player base, and it would do them a little bit more justice for their next announcements. But besides that, some folks may think, in my opinion, all the new stuff going on can be overwhelming if they haven't played retail in quite some time, and it really depends on on a person-to-person basis. I think as a player like myself who likes to involve myself with things that are complex and try to understand if they're really that hard as people make them out to be, and then dissect the information and then see it on plain paper and say, hey, this is really not that hard as people are making it sound out to be. It's not complex at all. It's very simple, actually. People lied about the complexities, and there's a lot of simplicity here. And to be honest with you, that's how I see a lot of retail being right now. There's really nothing complex about the War Within, to be honest with you. The only thing that is complex about the War Within is the fact that they don't do a good job of kind of telling you what's going on and what to do with certain things. Like, for example, like professions, like the orders, they don't even tell you that you can do oh, here's these orders you can do and what this really means and who you're giving it to. And then there's an NPC section, then you get a reward, and it's kind of like a poor tooltip design job by Blizzard to not really be straightforward a little bit with that. So maybe a better sense of direction overall, maybe within their zones on like where you should be really focusing on first, can be improved upon the Blizzard UI or decision making within the game from like its tooltip core. But besides that, that's something on Blizzard if they ever choose to improve upon that. So that's like, I guess, something I can, I guess, crack up on at them about a little bit. But this is nothing like, you know, groundbreaking. Like I said, this is these cons that I'm, you know, going over. It's not to say like, oh, this game is horrible. No, I'm just saying these are little things that I found that I feel like definitely should be improved upon in the future. That's all it is. I'm still very much so enjoying the War Within for sure. But from the PvP perspective, my first experience so far, it's very insane. Like, dude, it is fucking absolutely off the charts insane. Like, I almost think it's too much overboard. Like, if there is too much shit going on the screen, literally, like, it is like Civ 6 or some shit, where nations are bombing other nations. You have no idea what's going on, all right? And even in Civ, there's better strategization than what's going on over here in an Alterac Valley in retail, okay? It is an anime fight. It's either an attack on Titan, there's Titans everywhere, and everyone's just colliding. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I'm not Mikasa, all right? I'm not, you know, Eren Yeager. I ain't popping off some badass moves, okay? Or Levi. I ain't doing none of that shit, all right? I'm just a bitch-made boy in the back waiting for my chance to shine against one person, or maybe two if I get lucky, all right? But I ain't doing all this other stuff. It's a little crazy and over the top in my opinion. I do think maybe the arenas and the smaller scale BGs are better. I will say the War Within BG, the payload idea, which they basically took from Overwatch, is a great idea. Something I thought about for SOD when I was thinking about it on the podcast with Warcraft Reloaded. But overall, I will say it's a good idea for the War Within, and it works out perfectly. I think it's a good BG. It's awesome. I enjoy it. But it is a bit much when it gets to too many people in a battlefield. I don't think I can pay attention to it. I'd rather just do smaller scale PvP or open world PvP, or just arenas or rated. So I think that sounds fun. But also another thing that I noticed when like the first couple days is that level 70s were doing millions of damage. The meters were totally off the charts and not scaled correctly. This has to do with, you know, the whole thing going on with, you know, Blizzard making the nerfs and everything that we just discussed. But also like the fact that people were like selling these carries already in LFG. The fucking expansion just came out, dude. Holy shit, how are people on this on top of shit? They got data Excel analytic charts cranking in the back of their grandmother's barn. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, it was a little nutty on that aspect, but I will say, after like, you know, the changes and stuff, it seems like that will be a little bit more improved upon. But that pre-patch gear was carrying people and boosting people like a mofo. It was absolutely nutty. But that's really honestly about it on like everything about the War Within from a classic player perspective. And you guys know me, I always be stuttering, so forgive me for my stuttering. It's just the way I speak sometimes. Much love to you. Honestly, my closing thoughts are this though. I gotta give the War Within a seal of approval, honestly. It's a solid expansion so far. I mean, I'm looking forward to the story and what everything that has to offer in the future in the next couple, you know, days, weeks, months, you know, as far as we go with the War Within and keep trying stuff out. I'm sure I'll have an update video on this, you know, talking about like the rating when that comes out and, you know, further PvP changes and maybe get a little bit more involved with the retail community. But I must say, as a Classic player who's loved Classic through and through, who's watched Classic content creators for years, you know, growing up and always enjoying, you know, many great Classic content creators and loving Classic right now, Season of Discovery, still love it. I must say War Within is actually really fun. And it's a good time when SOD right now is currently on the decline, which we all know it is true. It's just, you know, Raylog and MC and just doing MC3 each week. There's really nothing else to it besides BWL and ZG coming out. A lot of stuff going on in SOD is really slow right now. So it's a good time to be enjoying the War Within. And honestly, it's fresh, it's hip, it's new, and I think they've knocked it out the park with it. And I gotta give them credit on that at least. But besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed everything that I involved with here. Leave me your thoughts and comments below, from Classic players to retail players. What do you guys think about it? And I wish you nothing but the best. And do know, just because I'm making content, because people get a little antsy of War Within, I will be making SOD content. Don't rely, you know, don't go crazy. Relax. Get packed up if you get shot in the comments. It's not my fault. Much love to you. Catch you on the next one. Keep on keeping on. Shine on. I'll see you later, amigos. Don't forget your hand sanitizer after 12 days of not going to the bathroom and washing your hands or potentially showering, you nasty you-know-whats. Make sure to use some hand sanitizer, a little squish, and then you rub it in your hand, and then you go in your Settle down! Not that type of video!